Hello guys, hi. I'm here to show you a tool that's available in Illustrator, and that's called the mesh tool. And why do we use a mesh tool, and what's the purpose of using a mesh tool, and like for what examples we can use mesh tool. So let's go ahead and open up Illustrator, and let's get into a new document. As I have here, create a new document. Okay, and I'm going in for the default A4, and I'll go in for a portrait or landscape. So here I have my document opened up here, and as usual I can go in for workspace and reset my essentials so that I reset my Illustrator completely back to normal. So these are the tools that we have in Illustrator, that's on the left hand side, and today's tool that we're going to use is this mesh tool. So the shortcut for mesh tool is U on your keypad, and I'm using Windows, so for Windows it's U. Okay, sorry. Alright, so let's get started. So let's start with the basic, like how a mesh tool can be used. So let me try using up this circle, or yeah, this circle, complete circle. And what I want to do here is I want to see how this mesh tool really works when it comes to shape like this. So let me zoom into this so that you can see it much more clear. And okay, so once I select this, you can see that the color that I have applied already is white. So maybe I can go in for a different color just for this example. So let me select something like this yellow, and now I'm going to go ahead and apply the mesh. But there are so many ways that you can apply a mesh, and initially let's start with something easy. So let me take some few duplicates of this. Okay, so maybe we can see some different examples. Zooming in here for the first one. So what I want to do here is I'm going to select this first using my selecting tool, and then I go to mesh, that's on the left hand side. Once I click it, okay, I can come over this circle, the first circle that I have, and I can click anywhere I want in order to get a mesh applied to this. So let's see, let's start from the beginning. So maybe I can start from the center point. So once I click, you can see it has applied a mesh. How do we know that it has applied a mesh? Let's check it. So in order to apply a mesh and apply, the main purpose is like once we apply a mesh, we are trying to apply multiple colors onto it for this example. So how are we going to apply those colors? By using this mesh. So now that I have selected this center point using my mesh tool, I have got two lines, one horizontal and one vertical, and there's one center point here. Okay, and there are I do have other areas where I can just add on colors, but let's see initially how this color has to be added into this circle. So I need to select the direct selection tool, and then I need to select a point where I need to add a color. Okay, for an example, let me select this. So once I select it, you can see that it is still in yellow, so I can just select that color and I can go ahead and change the color that I want. So once I change the color, you can see that it has applied the color onto this mesh. So if I want to change the color onto this area, I can just click onto it, and once I'm sure that I have that anchor point selected, I can just go again and select a different color this time, and I can go ahead and start applying the same colors to one by one. So let's start applying the color to each one of them. I have another one here, the anchor points. So make sure you're selecting the anchor points, and I have another anchor point here, so I need to just go ahead. So wherever you have an anchor point, you can make sure that you can add some colors to it. Okay, so if I want to add some additional mesh into this circle, I can still go ahead, click my mesh tool, and once I select my mesh tool, I can come over and then I can click anywhere I want to add a color. For example, I can select this area where I want to add white maybe, so I just click onto it. And now that I have red here, I want this area to be in white. So how do I change the color? Select the direct selection tool, choose the point, anchor point, and make sure you're on the right color, and then you can change it to white. So if in case I want to add another white here, you can go to the mesh tool and make sure you select the mesh tool and then click on the area where you want the white to be added, and you can just click onto it. Now that I have already added white, so it by default, it just comes into white. So maybe if I want a black color here, I can go ahead and select the direct selection tool, and I can select the anchor point here. So once I'm sure the anchor point is selected, I can just go ahead and add black or maybe a red. Okay, so this is exactly the best part when it comes to using a mesh. So what is the real purpose of using a mesh? Alright, let's go ahead and check into this circle that we have here. So maybe if I'm going to add a mesh that's from not from the center point, but I'm going to apply it directly from this borderline. So I'm just going to roughly click an area. So now that I have this selected, you can see it has a gradient look. So if I want to change the other anchor point that's here, if I want another red, I can also go ahead and give a different red here. And if I want to include additional two lines, so I can still go ahead and select the mesh tool, and I can add two lines. And this time what I can do is I can select the direct selection tool and I can select them both together, and I can choose a different color maybe. Let's go one by one. Let's go one by one. I'm going to choose this red, and I'm going to choose this also yellow. So now you can see I have complete yellow and I have partially yellow and red mixed together, which is almost a gradient. So even here I can go ahead and change the color to yellow, and over here the same. So now I can use this by holding the using the direct selection tool. I can choose these handles here to adjust my fadings. Can you see that? So this is really helpful, and I can adjust it as I want, and even I can use this area to change it from the other side. That is also possible, or I can also choose this yellow thing to go on the other way around. So now I have a beautiful gradient look. Maybe, I hope so. So this is also possible when it comes to applying color onto a particular area. So this looks much more like, okay, maybe we can try this out. Let me give it a try. So maybe I can add another color here, something like white. Okay, and another white here, and I can also add another mesh somewhere here. Let's go ahead with yellow again, and yellow. So this is exactly how we can keep changing, we can keep changing, and we can do multiple colors, and we can get different effects when we are using a mesh tool. So I really feel comfortable working with mesh tool when it comes to doing some textures and stuff. But then we do have some problems here, like for example, let me show you one example here. Let me just quickly finish this out. So I hope you can see this like the handles here. For example, if I click on this line, you can see that I have handle here. So these are the handles where I can use them to, like change the gradient position or the color filling areas and stuff. So actually, if this is overlapping, for example, if I'm going to add a different color the other way around, I can still go ahead and apply from this angle. I can also go ahead and apply from this angle. Okay, this time you can zoom in and see sometimes maybe this is okay, but if in case you have two overlapping angle handles like this, if you do have something like this, always make sure you just bring them back to in position, like so that they don't overlap, and try to keep your mesh really neat and clean, because the more clean and neat your mesh is, I'm sure you're going to have a beautiful texture on your artwork that you're doing. So this is one way that you can use a mesh. And also in my next tutorial I can show you how to use a mesh in order to give a texture to some object or any particular what do you call it, design that you have, for which you can go ahead and apply a texture so that you can give it a 3D look. So just follow up my next tutorial in order to see how mesh works on your object in order to get a 3D texture. Okay, thank you guys.